what do you think Friday was about?
Well, I genuinely agree with most of your introduction. I think it was about that Draghi had disappointed, but I think there's still this ongoing debate about what the Fed is doing. And I think crucially, some of the leading indicators coming out of Japan, that whatever Kuroda does is probably, he wants to get out of NERP from a Japanese bank perspective. That means rising long bond yields, which I think, as you say, then means the bond proxies, the utilities and the consumer staples type long duration stocks suddenly are a crowded trade that everyone can't see the next buyer for. So I think that's why we've had a bit of a setback here. I do think it's interesting to see the banks going up on a bad day. You know, almost around the world, the banks have been outperforming, probably because they, you know, they are a beneficiary of spread widening on the longer end. The question is, of course, if maybe some of this fear is raising economic doubts, in which case whatever benefit they get on the spreads, they're going to get hit with bad debts. So,
Neil, I know that you are net long assets because that's your job to put money to work, but aren't we all just refreshed that actually there is a little bit of not moral hazard, a bit of hazard put into trading once again, that people can't complacently sit there and say, do you know what, it doesn't matter what valuation I ascribe to this, I'm buying it because I know it's going up because the central banks have got my back. For those of us who like two-way markets, it's a bit of a refreshing thing to see.
I think it is, and I think even with your prior expertise, I think when you actually look at the realised volatility in the S&P over August, it was 6%. And although the VIX is at 13, the actual realised is virtually, it's like watching a pool with no air on it. So I do think we need some volatility. I do think we want some clarity on where we're going. And I don't think what the central banks are doing at the moment are helping. I do think expectations clearly were too high for Draghi. He's got till March next year to say, I'm going to extend a bit and buy a bit more and everything else. But the market clearly wanted it on Thursday.